Hi YouTube, this is Ruger22 Rambo, and I thought I would show you how to disassemble, clean, and reassemble a Ruger 1022 10-shot rotary magazine. What gave me the idea to do this video was I saw one done 3 years ago by Hey Pete 1, and I noticed in his comments that people were complaining that they couldn't follow the video very well because of the music he had playing in the background of the video. So I thought I'd try and do do one for you to make it a little easier for you to follow. I'll do my best. I've taken this magazine apart 4 or 5 times, but I still have problems. So here we go. All you need to do, the only tools you need to do this are a 9/64 inch hex wrench. Now here's a little advice. Before you ever disassemble a magazine, of course you empty the rounds out of your magazine, of course. Any idiot knows that. But here's a piece of advice. On the front of your magazine where it says 10 shot, well, this one doesn't, believe it or not, this one doesn't say that. But on this side of the magazine, with a little knob, a little dimple right there. What I would do is take a magic permanent marker in a different color than black, of course, and index, make a line, put a line on the on the nut and the body of the magazine as reference. Because when you go to tighten the spring in this magazine by turning this hex nut, it will want to back away from you as you're tightening it. The line on the nut and the body will help you reference where when you have enough tension on your spring. Okay, now to taking this thing apart. Take your 9/64 inch hex wrench or Allen key, and there is your hex screw. You insert your hex key into the nut like so and loosen. And keep loosening it until you feel the nut on this side come loose. It'll want to pop in your hand. Okay. See what I mean? That's how much spring tension there was. Okay. Let me okay. Put this together for you. All right, folks. Here is your magazine parts. Main body, magazine cap, magazine rotor, feed lips, hex screw, and hex nut. Okay, to clean this, you take a patch, gun cleaning patch, like you use it when you're cleaning your rifle, and you wet it with some nitro solvent. You shouldn't have to clean these that often. I'd say maybe every 500 to 1,000 rounds would be a good idea. How can you tell when your magazine needs to be cleaned? Well, you'll start having problems of the magazines, the rounds in your magazine, ejecting out of the magazine and feeding correctly. The rounds may stovepipe in your magazine, in your feed lips. As such, I'll see if I can do this. See how I'm holding it? That's a stovepipe. Okay. Here's what you do. Okay. Whenever you start noticing problems with your magazine not feeding correctly, that's when that should be done. Like I said, take a patch, wetted with nitro solvent, wipe it out. You might even want to take a brush, clean it out that way, and then dry it thoroughly. You do not want your magazine body or your rotor to be wet with solvent, because all you'll be doing then is collecting more uh, deposits and making your problem worse. Okay, then you take your rotor to clean it. You wipe down between each of these veins, right here, like where my thumb's going, where my finger's going. Okay, one thing about this rotor, there's a spring inside. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a spring inside. There you go. There's your spring. Okay, you can take it apart by there's a hole on the other end of this rotor. Take a pin, punch out the other end of the spring, and you can take the spring out. There is hardly ever, if ever, there's really no need to do that. Okay. Wipe it down with nitro solvent and dry thoroughly. Wipe it dry thoroughly. Okay, now here we go with the assembly. Take your main body, you take your feed lips. On your feed lips, there's there, you see this little knob on the end of the feed lips? There's one on each end. Smaller one and a bigger one. Okay, the bigger one goes towards the back of your magazine where the screw came out of, the closed end of your magazine body. Okay, you take your hex nut, hex screw. Come on, you went in there like before. Okay, good. Then you take your hex screw, drop it back in its hole. Okay. Here's the important thing about this rotor. One vein is longer than the others. You see it? You'll see it when you look at it. Okay, there's a good shot of it. All right. Take the end that does not have the spring. It goes into the magazine body. So it looks like such. Your spring is sticking out of the open end of the body. Okay. Hold your finger over the hex screw so that it doesn't fall out on you. Then you rotate the rotor until that big vane, that extra long vane on the rotor, is inside the feed lifts, such as, let's see, I'm trying to get you a good picture here, folks. Alright. This is not easy, but you get the idea. Okay. Take your magazine cap. Okay. Like so. It should snap into place. Now watch me make an ass of myself and not do it. Now you see why you keep your finger over the hex screw. Okay. Okay, she's back in place now. While holding the magazine as such, you take your hex nut. And let's see if I can find it for you. There is a hole in this hex nut that the tail end of this rotor spring attaches to. Take your hex nut, put it in like so, holding on to the hex screw on the other end. You rotate until you feel it till you feel the spring attach itself to the hex nut. Now here is the bitch of the whole deal. You have to turn this hex nut 1 1/4 to 1 1/3 turns. Be sure not to let go, or you're going to have to start all over as far as tensioning this hex nut. Once you think you've got it turned enough, take your hex key again and tighten like such. Okay. Alright. There it's tightened. Now to test it. Take a round, feed it into your magazine, check the tension. Sorry folks, I'm trying to get this where. Okay. Okay, load your magazine as usual. Okay. And then after you have it loaded, you'll strip the magazine with your thumb, just like you were unloading the magazine. Now, the one, you see how you can tell when it's full by the tension. You cannot put another round into the magazine. Okay, you take your thumb and strip it. Strip the rounds. Damn it. What the hell? Strip the rounds like so. They should want to pretty much jump. Okay. When you can do that, it's in a pretty much jump, you've got it done. It'll take some practice, but you can get it. Hope this has helped. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.